Now, here we have a question I haven't really got into in a while, but it goes like this. If she didn't pass, meaning my wife, do you think the two of us would have gotten a divorce? And what a lot of people don't realize is that I was actually in the process the last few months of divorcing my wife, certainly a legal separation. And if this is the first time seeing me, well, my wife and I were married for 25 years, and unfortunately, she passed away from alcohol use disorder a little over 4.5 years ago. She went to 7 rehabilitation facilities, many emergency stays, inpatient hospital stays. She had 4 DUIs and many psych holds. So it was a very long road and a very long journey to get to this point. And one of the reasons why I stayed, and I've gone over this, was really for my son. I wanted my son to get through his childhood. In September of 2019, we dropped him off at college, and he was no longer living with us, essentially. So the last few months, and it was my busy season at work, and I've gone over this. And then we had Christmas, and really in the beginning of January of 2020, I really talked to lawyers, and I was making a plan. And I'll go over my plan with you. And my original plan was to put her in a rehab facility in Los Angeles, which was a good 100 miles away, and I wanted some physical distance between us because I honestly, I had really had enough. And the conversation I had the last time that we left the house was, I don't believe you're ever going to see this house again. It's time to make a change, Amanda. And I think it was very hard on her. I'm not even sure because she was inebriated at the time, if it even connected with her. But my plan was to put her in a rehab for 30 days and then put her into what's called a sober living facility for at least a year. And that's a facility where you can go and live. You have to have a job of some sort of income, but they check you periodically, and you're living with other people who are also in recovery. So it's an important process, and I think it would have been an important bridge for her to get back to her own life. And after that, I mean, even myself, I had had enough. She was physically and mentally and emotionally getting worse and worse and worse, even with all the effort and massive effort that had gone into saving her. And she got more help than really anybody than anybody should be allowed to have almost. I mean, rehabs, hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent on rehabs, hours and hours of outpatient, court ordered some of it, and personally, she had personal counseling, and she would actually, argue with the counselors. I remember doing, being in meetings with the counselor. So I realized this wasn't, her sobriety was not it had very little likelihood. And again, unless you've been in this situation, unless you've lived with a late stage alcoholic, you're really not going to understand this. And people don't understand tough love. And families really need to protect themselves. They need to take care of their own mental health at a certain point, because there's only so much economical, emotional, physical trauma that you can take as a family member. And it's an ungodly situation. It's an unfriendly, unhappy, thankless position to be in as a spouse with a late stage alcoholic, or to be a parent to an alcoholic, or to have a parent who's an alcoholic, or a friend or somebody close in your life. It's very, very difficult. And most people really abandon you. Friends will abandon you because nobody wants to be around an alcoholic. And what happens is most people tend to, late stage alcoholics are surrounded by really just other alcoholics, because it's the only people that can really, be around that particular situation. And as a husband at this point, and as a father, I realized my son was raised. He was in college, and that was really set up for the next 4 years. And again, this is just before COVID, so I didn't know COVID was going to hit. But I mean, I had had enough. And if I made a video the other day about my mother dying in 2015, and really the last 5 years of my wife's life, there really wasn't a whole lot of marriage. It was just one struggle of trying to get her sober after another, after another, after another. And all the effort she was getting worse and worse and worse. She was actually drinking higher volumes of alcohol, isolating more than ever. And she really didn't have a whole lot of purpose. And it was very difficult to be around, and it became more and more difficult. I tried to get friends to come in and help her, but there was just something that just was not working inside her brain. And I think eventually she had what something's called Wernicke-Korsakoff. And I didn't really understand it then, but I really do believe that she had a form of brain damage near the end. There was just something that wasn't ticking with her. Her personality wasn't there anymore. I mean, the person just seemed to just not exist anymore. It was all about alcohol. And she would sit and watch television for 12, 15, 18 hours a day. It always had to be on. We had a television in our room, and she'd watch television till 5 o'clock in the morning. And eventually, I mean, I couldn't even stay in that room. It was ridiculous. But the reason why I go over these things is because I know families and other people go through this stuff so much. And it's important to have somebody to relate to and to realize that you're not alone. And it's okay to take care of yourself as a family member, because there will come a point where there's only so much you can do as a never mind what the relationship is. There's only so much you can do as a fellow human being. And again, just to point out, I go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We also have the Facebook group. It's called There Is an Alcoholic in the Family. Very good group if you have an alcoholic in your family, or if you are one yourself. Very safe place to get more context, and if you have questions, lots of people will help, will answer you, and it's a very safe place. And when you're ready to work with me one-on-one, I have a complete coaching program with the same name. There's an Alcoholic in the Family. It's designed for families and alcoholics. I've helped thousands of families with their alcoholic in their family. And, they set up a breakthrough call. It takes about 45 minutes or so. We do a deep dive into what's going on with you and your family, and then we go over the program. The call is free. The program definitely not. But I want people who are ready to change their lives and the lives of their family. And again, thanks so much for listening.